Today, as an exercise, we're going to walk through this 2006 DeFever 52-foot trawler to see what a trawler like this offers with regard to liveaboard comfort and what you should look for in a listing like this. This is educational for listings similar to this, what you might need to be considering while looking at them. Okay, so first things first here, we're going to walk through the specs and then we'll walk through the photos and we'll take notes on what's good, what's bad, what needs to be improved, and how comfortable for liveaboard life would this boat be. And as a quick disclaimer, this is specifically about liveaboard comfort. I mean, when we talk about a little bit of safety things insofar as they affect your stress levels with regard to liveaboard comfort, this is not about the speed of the vessel or the handling while underway or its best speed upwind, downwind. This conversation is not from the perspective of a surveyor, okay? Liveaboard comfort, that's what we're talking about. Large vessel, 52 feet, it's in Annapolis. So it's a 2-cabin, 2-head version. Many trawlers in this size range will have basically a really nice large primary cabin and then a secondary cabin that's used for guests or, could fit small families with a couple kids. Just a couple things I'm noticing right away right here, if these are accurate. Freshwater tanks, almost 1,000 gallons of fresh water. That's huge. That's great. That way you can fill up and not have to worry about running your water maker or just a huge buffer there. I don't know if this is true. A 50-gallon holding tank for the whole boat, just one of those. It seems kind of small for 4 people. Maybe this is a typo or I don't know. Lots of fuel. Big, longer range cruiser. We're not going to go into the propulsion characteristics here. So let's go down our list, my checklist here. What about anchors? So we've got a 60-pound plow anchor, and also looks like a Danforth. It doesn't say how heavy. This might just be a backup. I did look it up. A 60-pound plow anchor for this size vessel kind of felt light to me. I looked at the Rockna Vulcan anchor, which is also a plow anchor, just to kind of get a rough feel. This is a 32-ton vessel. It's 52 feet long, 32-ton right here. And it says that you need a 88-pound anchor, and they have a 60-pound anchor. So I always like to size up one size to help me sleep better at night. So I would say that the 60-pound plow anchor is probably a bit light. You might consider getting something a bit beefier if you're going to be anchoring out a lot. This would probably work in light winds. Sure, fine. Weekends anchored out or really protected anchorages. You got the windlass, with pedals, stainless steel anchor roller system, sure. Stamps and post. So that takes care of, so let's look at batteries next. Battery charger, there we go. Electrical, big generator, 12.5 kilowatt Kohler generator sound shield, fairly low hours. 3-phase battery charger. So your engine starting batteries, I'm looking for the house bank. These are your house batteries. 225 times 2 12-volt batteries. So that's 450 amp hours of something from lead acid, AGM, some sort of, it's not lithium, right? So that's actually, I don't know, I would say this is kind of low. This is definitely not enough to be running lots of equipment off of watermaker, air conditioners, water. Like you're gonna need to run all this off of the generator. It is a big generator, so you can run pretty much everything you need to off of it. This is gonna be for light electrical loads, inverted loads. So you're talking TV, charging computers, internet, maybe occasional like microwave use, and running your fans because it's not a very big battery bank. If you don't want to have your generator on a lot to have that kind of hum, if you just want a really quiet boat, then I would probably recommend that you get a new large battery bank just to kind of store all the extra power that you're going to be having. Because these are so small, you're going to end up running your generator for silly things like you just want it's a big generator and maybe you just want to bake something in a little oven. But then all that extra capacity could easily be going to charging these batteries up so that you don't have to do it again. What's next? Let's look at a water maker. It said water maker. Okay, I don't see anything about a water maker on here. Yeah, no water maker. Maybe that's just because it carries so much water, and you can go with almost 1,000 gallons of water. You can go just fill it up every now and then. So no water maker, but for a boat like this, I'd recommend getting a water maker installed. I did see, let's talk about 3 cruise air reverse cycle air conditionings. It doesn't say how big they are, but with 3 of them, even if they're on the smaller side, like 800 BTUs, you can easily control different parts of the climate on the vessel. This is pretty good. From a comfort point of view, you got this big generator, you got 3 air conditioners, probably for the different, the master berth, the V berth, and the salon area. That's a pretty big win from the comfort point of view, so long as they're all functional. And okay, and we're also So back talking about water, we see that there is a 20-gallon hot water heater. That's a respectable size hot water heater. You heat it from your generator. The generator is doing a lot of work on this boat, I can tell, but that is respectable. You'll be able to make use of those 1,000 gallons of water that you're storing by taking decent showers with your 20-gallon hot water. Okay, so let's jump into the photos now that we've looked at the basics of the specs, see if we can learn anything else. I will notice that right here we see this little plow anchor up. What looks like it's hard to tell from the picture, but you can just feel. My gut check says that this feels like too small of an anchor. You want a bigger anchor. Okay, so I looked at the video. It's just some glamour drone shots. No new information in there. We have our pilot house. Not all of the trawlers in this size range will actually have a decent chair for sitting in for helming. This one looks pretty decent. Full suite of electronics. Not going to go into the electronics. That's for the surveyor. Here is our galley and bit of the salon. We have our pull-out fridge here. Looks like, it's hard to tell from this perspective. Okay, so a propane stovetop, and I don't see any electric cooktop, but you can easily have like an induction or electric cook plate that you'll have. Propane can become difficult to source in certain places that you'd be cruising, so I wouldn't be completely dependent on having propane cooking. It looks like there's a little microwave in there. You could swap that out for a microwave / air fryer / convection oven if that one isn't that. Nice big sink here over the window. Good amount of counter space for the galley. Jumping outside again, we got our dual windlass system, Samson post. There is the aft area there at the stern, the swim deck, nice amount of space. The teak looks maybe a little bit older, and that's not a criticism. It's just it kind of lets you know how much work you're getting into when you buy the boat, how you might need to, if you're seeing neglect, I'm not saying this is even neglect, but if you do see neglect when you're looking at listings, then you have to start wondering what they aren't showing. And I mean, this is just typical teak bleaching, and the other woodwork seems in pretty good shape. Looks big, heavy cable, so it looks probably like a 50 amp boat. And with all the air conditioning and stuff that we saw, the big hot water heater, you would need something like that. Okay, back into the salon here. You got this little transform. I love these little transforming coffee table to just sitting table. These are not built-in little seats. These are aftermarket that somebody brought in. So probably don't have any storage in them, but they probably rock and are fairly comfortable for sitting. A nice little community area here. Cushions look like 4-inch cushions, maybe have been redone. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I personally don't like this like vinyl feel cushions. I would redo them as like 6-inch cushions with a more comfortable type fabric, or put a blanket on them or something. Here's your big galley. TV over here. So yeah, this looks like a comfortable place to just hang out. There's those chairs again. I just now seeing this is a little bit weird that there's no back cushions to this settee here. I know you have all these little pillows, but that's, I don't know, you can definitely, there's enough seating here to where you can definitely get some fabricated. I personally think that comfortable seating on a boat is quite important for having it feel like a home, making it comfortable. You can see how this corner here is pulled down, so clearly people sit here a lot. There's kind of evidence of being sat on a lot, this one less. So yeah, back cushions. I would definitely have back cushions fabricated. Okay, and then we see a little bit of our fridge here again, split in it looks like 2 sections top and then bottom. Good storage space there. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, there's a fridge again, TV, pilot house, seating. Okay, now it looks like we've gone down below. Forward, this is the V berth. So the V berth is clearly not the master berth here. It's got this little split V berth design. It's hard to tell if this one has it. A lot of times this will actually have like a insert you can put here and a cushion that you can turn this into a bigger bed versus kind of 2 twins. I don't know if that exists for this boat. We have a head here, but no photos of the toilet or the shower. Looks like the shower might be here to the right behind this glass panel, and then at the very bottom there's a toilet. I feel like it had, like I said, it only had 50, well, it said it only had 50 gallons of holding tank. I almost feel like that's not a real number. It seems too small. I think it said they were vacuum flush toilets. Now, here's one of the great things about these trawlers. You have the master berth is just awesome. You have all this space, walk around bed, easy to make. This, if we go back to the V berth, these look probably like they are the standard ones that came with the boat because they're such a hard shape. So maybe not super comfortable to sleep on, probably a little bit hard, but this bed is probably a new bed because it's so easy to replace that bed. Probably, it looks maybe queen size, I'm guessing. This probably sleeps pretty well. There's your secret door to your engine access. There we lights on, so that takes you into your engine room. So that's running aft, and then this will be forward. Go back here. So yeah, there we go. Forward is the V berth, and then looking aft here. So where's the head? Maybe this is the head for that room. Toilet here. It's definitely, I mean, it's at least not, it's either electrical or vacuum flush. It's definitely not a manual pump toilet. This looks like the shower though. I'm a little bit confused about the showering situation on this. I mean, here's a shower here. So this must be, in this particular head, you have a toilet separated from your shower, and then this toilet, it's a shower over your toilet situation. Wet head. All right, up on the fly bridge. No enclosure up here, but you don't need an enclosure necessarily. This is kind of just a fair weather spot. You can just use the inside helm station when the weather's foul. A little entertaining wet bar situation up top. I think it said it has an ice maker, your davits for your dinghy. And I don't see an engine on that dinghy. I wonder if that was specified. That would be something to inquire about if the dinghy didn't have an engine. And then down below in the engine room, I mean, I'd love to, we don't have these. I would love to nerd out and have a huge engine room. It just feels cool to me. Looking to see if there's anything that I can see and quickly identify here, comfort related. Generator, yeah, there's a generator. And that's about it. Looks like these are all glamour shots of the boat. So what's the takeaway here? Overall, pretty good. I think my biggest concerns, I mean, we didn't get to see a lot of the pictures of the systems, right? The specs did seem to call them out. I would say, did it say how big the inverter was? Well, it's got this, no, sorry. So it's a smaller inverter, 23 amps at 120 volts. You'd start to struggle to even maybe run the microwave on that. It says it's charged, it also has a charger, output 125 amps. It's a respectable charger, heavy. This feels maybe it's like a bit of a dated system. This boat, so again, talking recap, this boat, it seems to be well equipped for being off grid, but not with renewable power. The battery bank is small and the inverter is small. So it's intended to be run from the generator. That's fine. But if you want a silent boat, then you're talking about adding potentially solar panels, wind generators, and definitely a much larger battery bank. I'd get a bigger anchor for being on the hook more often, because there's a lot of, you can see there's a lot of windage on the boat. You get a storm blowing through, pushing hard, you're gonna want to be that anchor to grab into the ground. But very good very good generator. No water maker specified, and true, you got about 1,000 gallons of fresh water. But I would maybe, again, if you're gonna spend any amount of time on the hook, having a water maker is very valuable, so you don't have to go find water. It might be non-potable water, so then you got to separate out your tanks, or at least have like some big filter to RO, reverse osmosis, filter out that water for drinking. Yeah, no renewable energy. And the bed situation, again, only 2 berths. The heads seemed like potentially a small tank, and it didn't say if it was freshwater or saltwater heads, but with that amount of water, I'm betting it's freshwater heads. Let's see what it says. Vacuum flush toilet. Oh, it said a full-size washer dryer. Somehow I must have missed that. Let's look at let's find that. I don't see a full-size washer dryer in here at all. You should take pictures of that. But it is common to have one of those, like in a closet. In these trawlers, you'll get it's a stack style, so it's one on top of the other. Maybe it's in here, but I mean, that's a big perk. I would have shown a picture of it. Yeah, behind teak louvered door, so it probably was right there. Anything else we missed? Garbage compactor, that is handy. Garbage is definitely, we should talk about that sometime. Garbage can become a hassle when cruising, so garbage compactor is a nice add. And they didn't show anything with the bilges. I would like to know more about the bilges. I know it's a non-glamorous picture, but it can help you sleep well at night if you have really good bilge system. I saw that at the seacocks here. They got bronze seacocks and bronze seawater strainers. So like this feels like if the seacocks are bronze, then they're probably they're at least better than a lot of production boats will use brass ones and then don't have a backing plate. So I would love to have pictures of the bilge just to show that this boat is been thought about with regard to safety, and alerting people, like alarms. I don't think they had any alarm on there mentioned. So big question mark with regard to the bilge, but the bronze seacocks is a point in favor of them at least being potentially respectably well designed. So all in all, this is a very interesting boat. I don't think you have to do too much work to it. Only a few small red flags, and really those the biggest one to me, regardless if you're a generator user or not, is that your anchor was undersized, at least as specified on here. And then if you want to be on the hook and have a quieter boat, a much bigger battery bank, bigger inverter, and add a water maker, then you could really make use of all that power your generator's putting out. So it's a very interesting boat that has a lot of liveaboard comfort already built in and doesn't need that much more to kind of go that extra mile. So that's it. If you're interested, I can work with you, do something like this, walk through some different boats, help design your liveaboard life, what comforts are important for you, how do you want to live. We can maybe look some boats. The link for working with me is below in the description. We're going to do other videos like this, help people figure out what suits their liveaboard life, goals, their lifestyle. And yeah, that's it for this video. We'll see you in the next.